Well. Good morning, people. Hi. Hey. It's me, PAWG Knight, the guy who has the show that you're watching. And I was doing my little usual perusing through the Twitterverse yesterday and came across a moment of fresh hell. Yes, these celebrities are at it again, out to save the blacks. And holy shit. I truly am beginning to wonder. Do they do this on purpose? If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you're about to. After the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PAWG Knight. And we're going to stop that music, and we're going to start this music on Funky Friday on the Morning Night Live. Welcome, everybody, to the Morning Night Live with your host, me, Marty, also known as PAWG Knight on the internet on this fantastic Friday, the 12th, excuse me. I didn't know there was a Friday the 13th coming. That's because there's not. It's Friday the 12th, 2020. And I am so glad that you have decided to join me today as people are rolling into the chat on this wonderful, wonderful Funky Friday. So, as I mentioned in the preamble intro, so to speak, the celebrities are at it again. Yes, the celebrities are here to save us. Just like Misa in Game of Thrones, because they have done it, one of those things where they know that as they help uplift the blacks in the United States, yes, the celebrities are here to save us, meaning us people with more melanated capabilities. But before we do that, first of all, if you haven't filled your coffee yet, fill it up. I've got my cup of reparations coffee in hand, and it is delicious. Also, I want to say good morning to the people who are rolling into the chat quickly and ferociously. That's my take on Fast and Furious. Okay, good morning. First, who was here first today? But Midday Sun got here early. Who gets the bell? Thank you for being here today, of course. Also, good morning to Cynical Lindsay, Advocatus Diaboli, Black Hebrew Israelites.
That's right.
Grillin' Pirate Pete, hungover. Pete was at the bar last night. I saw that earlier. Good morning, Chi-Town J. CNN sucks, but that is redundant. Good morning to Select a Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, what the hell happened over there? That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. Good morning to also Renee Mayette, DI Freighter Watcher, Richard Cranium, who gets to watch while we're live, although he's at work. And so, Richard, I did answer you. Richard says, hello, all. I'm at work. It's not fair. I'm too pretty to be working all the time. And as I can tell you, I feel your pain. Good morning, who's today instead of ha-ha. Hehe's in the house. Good morning, Katie Did Skate. Good morning to, let's see, Kevin S., Jonas Pedersen, I almost said it twice, Sean D.W., Cindy Rochelle, and I'm just strolling here, Chi-Town J, Gamer Valine, hi dear, how you doing? And I think that's everyone who's showed up in the chat so far. Oh my goodness, I have a top donor of the day, a new top donor of the day, the first top donor of the day. But wait a minute. Good morning, Tyler F. Good morning, Cryptic. Good morning, WR Costin. And everyone else in the chat. Cryptic with the $5 top donor of the day so far. That would be, let's see. Cryptic says, Dwayne Johnson paid me to clean up and organize his craft room, but sadly, I lost his scrapbook cutting tool. I lost the rocks, papers, scissors. There you go. Cryptic with the joke of the day. In fact, I think the crowd's going wild. That was fantastic, Cryptic. Cryptic always good for a good chuckle in here. And also now the top donor of the day in the Streamlabs link, which is in the description down below, and it's also in the chat. And good morning to Smarty Bear, who just got in just before I started talking about something else. So good morning, everybody. Thank you, Cryptic. I appreciate that. You always crack me up. Oh yeah, and also thank you to Tyler F, Cindy Rochelle, and I think that's it so far. Who's tweeted out the show? If you haven't tweeted out the show or hit the share button, please do that. We're trying to grow, and whatever. What am I trying to say? I got to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of July. I'm gonna facilitate that by putting out a couple of clickbait video titles. We'll see how it goes. I've had a couple ideas for videos that maybe would add some subscribers. Also, I'm going to have some guests over the next few weeks that some friends of the show. I'm going to try to get Hard Bastard on. Maybe the Hotep Been Told You guys. Maybe some of the guys from two of the guys from the Lords of the Night or Monkey in the Morning. And then also there's a couple other people that I've been trying to get on the show just to have a conversation with that I find interesting. So we'll see how that goes over the next several weeks. So look forward to that. We'll be doing some dog park shows, which I call the dog park, where we all play nice, and we'll get to that soon. Anyway, this bit of fresh hell that I've talked about this morning, or that I talked about earlier, these celebrities are at it again, and I know some of you probably saw this on other shows, but I have to go through my bit on this because, frankly, I don't know why they keep doing this. I don't know whose idea it was to make these videos. At first it was Imagine. Remember when they did the Imagine one a while back? Because they were trying to show their solidarity with everyone who's not really working right now, and trying to make it just try to make everyone feel all good and stuff while they're sitting in their, their Hollywood mansions and all that stuff. Matt Christensen, that's a good idea too. Matt's hard to get a hold of. I've done his call-in show. I've called into him once or twice on his call-in show, but I usually don't get to see his live shows too much because I go to bed early because I get up early. I'm one of those early to bed, early to rise people, and so I don't always get to see a show. But I have called in a show, and I do like his stuff. I really do. Maybe that's a good idea. I'll have to think of that one. Oh, good morning, Amy in Connecticut. How are you doing? Okay, so the celebrities decide to make another video, and we're just going to go through it. First of all, though, I can't figure this out. One, why they did this in black and white, maybe just for dramatic effect. I might do a response video to this one, also in black and white. But and then also, I don't understand, do celebrities not understand that if they turn their phones sideways, that they get a full screen picture? I don't know. Did my microphone just make a lot of noise? Anyway, here we go with this fresh hell. Good morning, Gunfox61. Good morning, Maddie from the House of Geek today, and anyone else who just popped in. So here we go. This bit of fresh hell. And here we go. Too bad you're in bed by the time Minions. I know. I've been invited to Minions too, and I can't get to Minions in the zoo. I'm sorry. I'm answering Cynical Lindsay in the chat. Okay, here we go with this bit of fresh hell that these celebrity. I don't even know who this is. Does anyone know who this person is on the screen? I'm not sure. Anyway, here we go. Here we go.
Take responsibility.
Oh.
I take responsibility.
Jesse, so dramatic. I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
Oh, so sweet. She takes responsibility.
I take responsibility.
Wait, is that? I know her. I know the guy who plays Jesse. And this girl is this the hell's her name? Anyway, was that Alyssa Milano in the glasses? Oh my God, good God. Anyway, oh, is this Hillary Duff? Is that Hillary Duff? Oh, we have another $5 super chat from Cryptic. Who says, I was attacked by a gang of people with obsessive compulsive disorder. It was organized crime. Yeah. Way to go, Cryptic. Another funny there. And the crowd's going wild again. Thank you, Cryptic, for the $5 super chat. By the way, this show is sponsored by viewers like you. Support the show with your donations and have your super chats read live on the show. Just click the link there in the chat or in the description down below. Okay, we'll continue. So far, they're taking responsibility. Taking responsibility. Okay, we're going to continue.
For every unchecked moment.
Whoa, 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 whoa. For every unchecked moment? Every unchecked moment. Okay. Okay, you're taking responsibility for all of them?
For every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Wait a minute. You find it easy to ignore? Easy to ignore. And who's this douchebag? And nobody knows who this guy is, but I'll let him talk. But anyway, they look like they're doing a Metamucil commercial. Okay.
Every not so funny joke.
Wait a minute. Well, every not so funny joke. If it was not so funny, are you sure it was a joke? Anyway.
Every unfair stereotype.
Unfair stereotypes. I'm not. Oh. Unfair stereotypes. We might have to come back to that idea. Are you? It's because, look, I know this is a video. They're talking about police brutality. Could police brutality be an unfair stereotype? If that's the only thing you see, or could the police killing of black men in the streets be an unfair stereotype when you consider of 10 million arrests, there were 1,001 police shootings? And, well, you know the stats, but so could that be an unfair stereotype that the cops just want to go out and kill people? Well, let's see what Deborah Messing, quite the appropriate name, says here.
Every blatant injustice, no matter how big or small.
Every blatant injustice, how big or small. How many injustices? What every blatant injustice, how big or small? Well, I guess I'm curious how you define a blatant injustice. That's all. There's a definite. Okay, let's go.
Time I remained silent.
Every time you remained
Every
silent.
time I explained away police brutality.
Whoa! Whoa! I have a serious question for this one. Who in the hell, or why in the hell do you explain away police brutality? You used to do that? And I don't know who you are either. There's a lot of faces I don't know in here. Anyway, so you explain away police brutality. Okay, let's put that in the mind bank here. Oh,
Or turned a blind eye.
Or turned a blind eye. You turned a blind eye to police brutality. You're an awful person if that was your habit. Let's see what Julianne Moore says here. Remember Julianne Moore in Boogie Nights, the movie about porn? I don't know if she took many black cocks in that movie. I can't remember. Wow, did I just say that out loud? Holy shit! I can't believe I said that. Okay, what's she about to say here?
I take responsibility.
Okay, you're taking responsibility.
Black people are being slaughtered in the streets, killed in their own homes. These are our brothers and sisters, our friends.
Wait a minute. So, black people are being slaughtered in the streets. By who? Now, let's just say, when you say black people, when you use a phrase like black people are being slaughtered in the streets, the word slaughtered seems like it's a mass, like a mass killings. Like that people are just going out and slaughtering black people in the street for no reason. Now, this particular incident is completely and utterly fucked up. I get it. It is. But black people are being slaughtered in the streets. I might have to just stay in my house for a while. I didn't know that black people are getting slaughtered in the streets, slaughtered in their own homes, slaughtered. What else did she say? I'm going back to her. Let's go back to Julianne here. Okay, here we go.
I take responsibility. Black people are being slaughtered in the streets.
So you're taking responsibility for black people being slaughtered in the streets?
Killed in their own homes.
Killed in their own homes?
These are our brothers and sisters, our friends.
Bitch, I don't even know you. You're not my brother, sister. But I know that's a turn of phrase. 7,000 black people were killed by a homicide last year. Is she taking responsibility for all of them? Because that'd be being slaughtered in the streets, right? Oh, hold on. Not by police, because only about, let's see, well, I say only, I think it was roughly 267 black people were killed by police last year. And in nearly every case, it was justified, usually in shootouts or weapons being wielded at police or at other possible victims. But in that of the 7,000 others, by a homicide, are you going to go into the neighborhoods and try to stop that slaughter, Julianne Moore? I bet you. I would. Okay, so I'm guessing. I'm assuming. I don't know why I assume this, but I'm assuming Julianne Moore. You probably live somewhere out in California, possibly the Los Angeles areas. But I'm guessing that you don't live in the, in the rougher areas of Compton or Inglewood or Long Beach. I'm guessing that you live somewhere in the Hollywood Hills, right? But if you're so concerned about black people being slaughtered in the street, you are responsible. Why don't you take your sorry ass down to Inglewood or Compton or Long Beach and talk to people there about who is slaughtering black people in the streets? Yes, the police brutality is a problem in some cases. I'm guessing the vast majority of the time. You know, you got to figure 10 million arrests last year. And then 1,004 people killed by police last year. 10 million, 1,004. I'm not following y'all here. But also, y'all sitting up here taking your little vertical phone video and mixing it together, because this one was just reading off a script. Somebody wrote this for her, by the way. I can tell. Watch her read it.
Friends, our family. We are done watching them die. We are no longer bystanders. We will not be idle. Enough is enough.
Okay, how about like I said, instead of taking a film video in Hollywood Hills, how about you go down to the hood and talk to some of the people actually killing people? Stanley Tucci, I'm so disappointed that you're in this video. I really like Stanley Tucci. I think he's a great actor, but he's lecturing. He's lecturing white folk. I just forgot. Okay, here we go.
I will no longer allow an unchecked moment. I will no longer allow racist, hurtful words, jokes, stereotypes, no matter how big or small.
What exactly does this have to do with a dumbass cop killing somebody by putting their knee up? What are you talking about, Stanley? Do you think anybody approves of unjust killings of black people or anybody else, Stanley? Are you so sheltered in your little Hollywood gated community that you probably live in that you don't realize that this is such? Are you so mesmerized by the only killings you hear about are the ones on CNN or MSNBC, the ones that get blown up to incredible proportions every time they happen, but the ones that don't get blown up, you don't know anything about? So you have this perception, because you happen to know 7 names of black people who got killed by usually, not even in all cases a white guy. In the case of Trayvon Martin, by a Hispanic dude. But, that's right, he's white Hispanic. That was the first time I'd ever heard that phrase before. Because those are the only names you know, right, Stanley? I bet they are. I bet you can't name a single one of the 25 people who were killed in that one city that we're not supposed to mention this last weekend. I bet you don't know a single one of their names. Do you really care about black people, Stanley? I don't think so. I think you're just trying to show that you have virtue. It's disappointing. Stanley Tucci. I love Stanley Tucci. I think he's a great actor. Oh well. And you know what? I don't care. Hey Chadwick. Hello, Adeline. How you doing? Straight Sith Mail. Good morning. Good morning, Mooly Porchers. That always messes me up when I try to say your name. That's okay. Welcome to the show. Here we go.
To be uttered in my presence.
Yeah. So here's the other part of this, Stanley. You know what else that disappoints me about this? Listen to what he says again. Listen to what Stanley Tucci says. We have another super chat from my friend Maddie with $5. Says, dramatic. Here, I'm going to read this dramatically. Hang on, let me fix this. I wonder if, hang on. Well, I'm not going to work. Dramatic virtue signal video. Rating 3 out of 10. Black and white motif, check. Dramatic acting, check. Slow motion, nope. Enya playing in background, nope. They need to step up their game. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, let's continue this here. But here, okay, listen again what Stanley Tucci says. Stanley Tucci.
I will no longer allow an unchecked moment. I will no longer allow racist, hurtful words, jokes, stereotypes, no matter how big or small, to be uttered in my presence.
Okay, one more time, because I got a point I got to make here, because listen again. Listen very carefully to what Stanley Tucci says. Listen again.
I will no longer allow racist, hurtful words, jokes, stereotypes, no matter how big or small, to be uttered in my presence.
Stanley Tucci was allowing racist, whatever, stereotypes and jokes or whatever uttered in his presence? You racist motherfucker.
Gotcha, bitch.
Huh? Stanley? You were allowing that? What the hell's wrong with you? What? So now you're going to no longer allow that? What happened to the rest of all these years you've been out there? You just been out there letting people drop the N-bomb in your presence, Stanley? Telling racist jokes, Stanley? Telling racist stereotypes, Stanley? Why did you wait until now? God, you are disappointing me, Stanley. One of my favorite actors. You're just disappointing me. Is this Alyssa Milano? She's kind of looking like the dude in the what's that little Mr. Magoo looking guy that dances in the amusement park commercials? Why is she? Okay, I think it's Alyssa Milano. I don't know. Anyway, all right. What's Alyssa got to say? Not that I really want to know. Come on. Here we go.
I will not turn a blind eye.
Oh, so you were turning a blind eye before. Oh, that's good to know. You just didn't give a shit before, did you?
Going for a jog should not be a death sentence. Sleep.
Sarah Paulson from Horror Story. I never heard of. From American Horror Story. Going for a jog should not be a death sentence. He was just a jogger. Look, Ahmaud Arbery shouldn't be dead either. And Ahmaud Arbery, was he just going for a jog, or was this a neighborhood watch kind of bullshit gone wrong? And look, the dude, the guys told him to stop. They had a shotgun. Ahmaud Arbery probably thought he was defending himself by going and grabbing the gun and got shot. The first shot was probably an accident. Shot 2 and 3 doesn't seem to be an accident. So the guy should go to jail probably for murder, okay? But I don't know. Anyway. No, I know they're speaking in a collective voice, and someone wrote the script, not from a individual perspective, but I'm just saying, okay, you're pledging not to show a blind eye. Well, that means you were having a blind eye before.
Sleeping in your own home.
Sleeping in your own home. Yeah, the guy that got shot in Maryland shouldn't have been shot. You're right. Nobody should kill for taking a jog. Or while they're jogging. No one should be killed in their own home like Breonna Taylor or the guy in Maryland who got shot in his home when they fired through the window when he was sleeping and next to his pregnant girlfriend. You're right. And so, yeah, these police are making a mistake, right? But I can't understand this
death sentence.
Playing video games with
Playing
your
vi-
nephew should not be a death
Playing video games
sentence.
in your death
Shopping in a store should not be a death sentence.
Okay, so now they're going through scenarios of different people who've been killed. No, you're right. Nobody says they should be, and nobody says these incidents are right. No one's celebrating any of these deaths. And police need to get their shit together. Aubrey was in his legal right to defend himself. That's what I said. Okay. It's what I'm saying is, though, when he grabbed for the gun and the gun goes off, that's I don't know what's the word here. Probably just a better way to defend yourself. He wasn't, grabbing a gun is not probably the best way to do it. And I would say the first shot was an accident, but the second two shots, that's when it's murder. Okay. You can say it was self-defense or an accident when the guy goes and grabs your gun. But that's why those two guys, particularly the guy with the gun, should be charged with murder and the other with accessory too. I agree with you. All right. All right.
Business as usual should not be life-threatening.
And it's not for the vast majority of Americans. Again, as I said, if cops were just out there killing brothers, there would not be so many brothers in jail. That's another thought. Duncan Lamp, is that the Maryland guy? That's not the one. There's two of them. There's another one. Is that his name? I don't remember.
I stand against hate.
Oh, I stand against hate. Well. Let me hold you up and exalt you, because everyone. So now you're conflating police brutality with hate. I tend to equate it more with power versus powerless or less power. And in a lot of these cases, for even this one with George Floyd, it's this officer who seems a bit psycho, exerting power instead of doing his job. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I go with that. So now I stand against hate.
I stand against hate.
I stand against hate.
Okay, but what are you got a mixed message going here. Are you assuming, so in all of these cases, you assume these people died because they were black, and that the people who killed them because of their hatred? I have a hard time with that. Are there cases where people are killed because they're consumed with hate? I'd say Dylan Roof. Sure, that's hate. At least the way he described it. Again, I think this is in a lot of these police cases. Is it power? Because it happens to not just black people. Ex Bubba Hotep, I didn't even see you come in the house. And also, good morning to Malia Carr. Ex Bubba Hotep with the $9.99 and one of those shake weight alerts. Ex Bubba Hotep says the stance of I stand against hate is stupid. It is okay to hate many things in life. The easiest off the top of my head is pedos. Yeah, hate is not always wrong. And also hate is an emotion, it's a thought. Okay, and it's a thought that you have to assume that somebody has. Again, I think in some of these cases with police, it's not hate, it's drunk with power. And so there you go. I hate these fuckers. Okay, Cindy, that's funny.
I will stand against hate.
Wait a minute, hold it. Now this is the other one I thought was, I thought was funny. Okay, wait. So they go. Here we go. Is this it right here? Okay, he goes. Is this it? Hang on.
Should not be life-threatening.
Okay.
I stand against hate.
I stand against hate.
I stand against hate. I stand against hate.
I will stand against hate.
I will stand against hate. Are you just now committing to this? Like everyone else already stands against hate, and you will stand against hate? You're a little late to the party, Missy. Just saying.
In love, I will make my presence known.
Okay.
And killer cops must be prosecuted. They are murderers.
Oh, Jesse. Jesse's so dramatic. Jesse. I don't even know his real name. I just call him Jesse because that's all I can remember him as. Okay. Yeah. Cops who murder, not in self-defense, not in the line of saving somebody else. Absolutely. They should be prosecuted. And in this case, they are. Hopefully that our attorney general or whoever's running this prosecution or the the county attorney, don't fuck up this case. You know, or you know, because I know there is. I don't want them to allow the fact that George Floyd resisted arrest mitigate their duty to bring George Floyd in alive so that he could be go through the justice system the correct way. Because you know, if they had not killed George Floyd would be either in jail or awaiting trial for passing counterfeit bills and public intoxication. You know, if they would allowed him to, if they'd done blood testing things. But that's no reason for him to be dead. You know, again, once you have someone subdued, you have an obligation to bring them in and find a way. Good morning, Johnny Hellcat. What's up, brother? So, yeah, anyway.
We can turn the tide. It is time to take responsibility. Call out hate.
But, okay, again. Okay, I'm confused as to, is this hate or is this power? You're conflating the issues here. Floyd was pulled out of the car and then got pressed. Yeah, I've seen a lot more video. They have a lot more video from another cam and others, and what happened. And in fact, the video that you see where Floyd is with the guys on his neck for 8 minutes. The reason the people who are watching and filming the incident are telling Floyd, just get in the car, is because they took him the first two officers, it wasn't Chauvin who originally took him out of his car. They took him out of his car, they had him handcuffed, they had him by the side, then they were walking to put him into the police car. He fell, he tripped off the curb, and then they helped him get up. They went to put him in the police car, and as they turned him into the police car, he refused to put his legs in the car. And then at that time, Chauvin and the other officer, the Asian gentleman, I can't remember his name, then they came over and tried to assist. And then there's still a blank spot, but it wasn't that they put him in the car and he was cooperating. They got him seated in the car and he refused to put his legs in. And then you can see them put him up. But that's, again, here's the thing. I do not believe any of that matters. Even if he resisted getting in the car and they end up getting him on the ground, they had to figure out a way to take him in alive so that he could face justice the correct way, not die at the scene. So I'm not even justified. But yes, he did. There is new footage showing that he did resist arrest. But that, again, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The cops have an oath and obligation to protect and to serve, and in this case, they did not. Good morning, Cairo Alexander. How you doing?
Up and take action.
All right, take action today. You can go to itakeresponsibility.org. Needless to say, this video took a beating, even from people who agree with the message. Again, a bunch of pampered celebrities sitting in their Hollywood Hills homes who are really doing nothing to help other than, oh, we'll make a video and everyone will feel better, screaming, virtue, virtue, virtue. It's embarrassing. Good morning, Edmund Hamlin. Oh, Edmund, no. Come on now. I do not endorse. I disavow. Floyd did have a rough past. Rough is a minor term. He was not a good person. I don't know if he was getting his life together or not, but he died wrongly. No matter what was going on, again, like I said, the officers have an obligation for him to face justice the correct way, and that was not it. Good morning also to BG. I see you dropped in also. Also, good morning to Maniac Man. How you doing? All right, let's move on. I spent way too much time on this cancer known as a video by these celebrities who are very dramatic, by the way. Thank you, Necrosaw Collins, also, and Maddie, and Gamer Boleyn. Okay, and everyone who's tweeting out the show, I appreciate that. All right, let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. Now, I decided to take this straight from the Ace of Spades blog because the updates and video and things they have in here are just precious. As you know, there is a group of people in Seattle who have decided to take over a certain acreage of downtown, or not really downtown. It's not really even downtown. It's part of Seattle. It's kind of on the edges, outskirts, but they've taken over and renamed the place to Chaz. Yes, the Chaz, the new country of Chaz. And the media seems to be celebrating them. And so I just think it's hilarious. Media celebrates the insurrectionist breakaway anarcho-barbaric bandit states as the Chazers start farming. Now, this is the funny thing that it's more lighthearted. I know that anarchists and whatever they are taking over a certain portion of the city and renaming it to their own country and calling themselves autonomous probably isn't I don't know if it's brilliant, but it is. There's humor to it. Anyway, the SJW Converged New York Times is celebrating the leftist utopia, as the Daily Caller reports. The New York Times published an article fawning over Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, also known as Chaz, in which protesters have taken over 6 blocks downtown in Seattle. Free food, free speech, and free of police is how the Times described the zone in a Thursday article. Police abandoned the 6-block area earlier this week, leading protesters to repurpose police barricades to defend the area. The New York Times described protesters as having liberated the streets to create a homeland for racial justice. Yes, they have. Hi, Green Thunder Mighty. Haven't seen you around in a while. Glad you're here. Free speech? Are you kidding? Can I fly the American flag there without being beaten to the point of permanent mental retardation? Can I wear a MAGA hat there? Or do you mean speech free of dissent. Quote, "This space is now property of the Seattle people," read a banner on the front end. I'll give that music time to stop for a second. Thank you, Gamer Valine. I'll read that in just a second. Quote, "This space is now property of the Seattle people," read a banner on the front entrance of the now empty police station. The article continued, quote, "The entire area was now homeland for racial justice. And depending on the protester one talked to, perhaps something more." Thank you, Gamer Valine, with the 556. Oh, by the way, this is episode 350 of the Morning Night Live. Hi, Richo. Hi to you too. Gamer Valine says, quote, "How about they take themselves into Baltimore, take some responsibility for their chosen politicians killing one of our first cities, and stop coming to Arizona. We don't want their liberal bullshit." Holy shit. Yeah, aren't the Californians have been creeping their way into Arizona for a long time. But, you know, they voted for all that shit. I'm just saying. Thank you, Gamer Valine. I appreciate you. Now, this article continues. "I have a prediction that I think just might come true. The moment they begin murdering and raping in this newest leftist utopia, the left will claim it's not an example of true leftism. We will soon hear true autonomous zone anarcho-barbarism has never really been tried." Meanwhile, here they're farming, and this is hilarious. I'm going to... So apparently they've decided to do some farming in Chaz. Yes, Chaz. They have a farm up as of today. Most of them have probably never seen a cow in real life, let alone do any gardening. So a lot of the plants aren't even planted, and half of them are staring at it, expecting to grow into ripe tomatoes any minute now. So here's an example of the farms of Chad. So they basically put these plants all over here and just pour dirt over the top of the grass, which is brilliant. And then, okay, so here they are. This guy here, just looking at it. Thank you, Bubba Hotep, with the 350 super chat on 350. Here's about 350. Wait, are you the goddamn Loch Ness Monster? No, I am not the Loch Ness Monster. You can clearly see that I exist. Or do I? Okay, so yeah, this guy is looking at, they just poured dirt, and look at this. Some of these, oh, maybe they're just deciding where they're going to put the plants, because notice they haven't planted any of these, all these little pots here. So they're planning on planting those, but they just, looks like they just poured a bunch of dirt over the top of the grass. What the hell are they doing? And then the next picture, yes, anonymous. Oh, this is from someone 4chan must be laughing. Someone for 4chan making fun of them. "If only you knew how bad things really are." Yeah, okay. And then, or did they plow this? If they plowed it, I wonder how. And this guy seems a little bit distraught. I don't know why. Anyway, all right. And then I gotta see some of the replies to this. Holy shit. Let's see. Oh, Chrissy got mad with them. "I'm amazed that people really are falling for your silly bullshit. Well, it's probably the best. Y'all ain't that bright. Carry on." Is she saying that this is not true? Haha. That will grow enough food for 1 to 2 people, and it'll be ready to harvest in 40 to 60 days. Ha ha ha. The homeless will sneak back in and have a salad long before these clowns wake up. Someone should start a GoFundMe for this poor innocent plant. Anyway, this one, oh, it won't click. Why won't it click? Here we go. Chaz now. Chaz after 2 weeks. Chaz after 2 months. Okay, looking like communism and its finest. All right. There we go. Did you see these Marxists are giving out free bags of Sprite? No, not cans of Sprite. They poured Sprite into Ziploc bags.
That's right.
No, I didn't see that. Anyway, I know Chrissy's mad that they're making fun of these guys. But anyway, also, apparently they didn't think the plants will grow before they starve to death. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on here in this picture. Or are those pot plants? I don't know. More because no one stopped the terrorist insurrectionists in Seattle. They're now declaring another autonomous zone in Portland. Oh shit, is this happening in Portland now too? So anarchists are building a border wall. Oh yeah, they it's funny because their autonomous zone, they have a wall. They're requiring IDs to be in the autonomous zone. There's all kinds of things that are stupid about it. But anyway, Andy knows his riders are grabbing whatever fencing they can to find around downtown Portland to build their own autonomous zone. No shocker, the anarchists in Seattle and the anarchists in Portland are kindred spirits. They kind of do a lot of the same stupid shit, and so there you go. This is unrelated, but I find it amazing, mainly for reasons of vanity, but I think it's funny even without my personal bias. Michael Malice tweeted out some. Oh, yeah, the National Review put this article out. Now, remember, the National Review is a long-time, well-respected conservative publication. The conservative case for tearing down the Reagan statues, written by Josh Romney. Now, this isn't the National Review runs a pro-riot article submitted by left-wing agitprop organization. Anyway. All right, let's get into some other stuff because I've really wasted a lot of time on the funny and the cringy. Let's see, anything else on Chaz? I think I'm done there. All right, we're cool there. Let's go back to home on there, and let's get into... So yesterday... let's get into some news. Yesterday, the president announced a plan to address racial inequity and police brutality. Now, of course, the people who don't want to hear Trump speak to that kind of stuff, the mainstream news, probably panned most of what he said, but I don't care. Here's what happened. President Donald Trump announced a 4-point plan Thursday to address police brutality and racial inequity in the United States. Trump made the announcement in a roundtable in Texas, saying his plan would include pursuing economic development and minority communities, confronting racial disparities in healthcare, signing an executive order to establish better training for the nation's police, and urging Congress to enact school choice nationwide. Now that last one, that's one that's very popular with the African American community, that the established education monopoly, so to speak, and Democrats really, really don't like. That's one that really gets in their craw when everyone starts talking about school choice. But people who live in predominantly black communities love that idea. That's one of those things that, anyway. Trump made the announcement flanked by top administration officials, including Attorney General Barr. The Department of Justice is committed to support the president's efforts here and do all that we can to bring good out of this bad incident, Barr said. Formal text of Trump's plan has yet to be released. White House Press Secretary Kayla McEnany confirmed earlier this week that Trump was considering an executive order on race and policing, but it was not clear what the order would contain. Trump and Republicans in Congress both ruled out changes to qualified immunity, the legal doctrine which protects police from civil lawsuits, but the White House and Senate Republicans are not working in tandem on a single plan, according to South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who is leading the party's effort to draft legislation. We are on a separate track from the White House, Scott told reporters Tuesday. I've been talking with folks in the White House about the track they're on as well. Certainly, there is a way for us to work together, but we've been in discussion with them for several days. The plan proposed by Democrats will reduce power of qualified immunity, but the party stopped short of meeting the protesters' demand to defund the police. And if you want to see a full version of the president's remarks, I'll put them in the chat. Oh, is this the one? Oh, this is here. It's here's a link to the video. I'm not gonna. This is 2-something hours long. It's in this video that I put in the chat. All right. Let's close this window. Close this window. Man who alleged, moving on other news, man who allegedly ambushed California deputy down after a police shootout. The man who allegedly ambushed and injured San Luis Obispo County deputy earlier Wednesday was shot Thursday afternoon by California law enforcement. The Pasos Robles, California Police Department tweeted, suspect down, several officers wounded. ABC News reports police began hunting the suspect, 26-year-old Mason James Lira, after he allegedly opened fire on law enforcement around 3 a.m. Wednesday. The FBI, California Highway Patrol, Arroyo Grande Police, and other local departments were all involved in pursuing Lira. 28-year-old Nicholas Dreyfus responded to the Wednesday morning shooting and was shot in the face. However, his prognosis is good. KPIX describes Lira as a transient who has also wanted for questioning regarding the murder of a homeless man. Now, I don't know if this is related to the protests or not. Others officers were injured in the shootout with Lira, but their conditions were not reported. So there's that. Moving on. Frame by frame, FBI is reviewing photos and videos from Minneapolis protests in an effort to arrest violent instigators. Now, found this morning, I was in the break watching TV and the local news, and they did have arrest warrants out for some people who started a couple of the fires in Minneapolis. Anyway, Washington Examiner reports that the FBI is said it is scouring photos and videos from the Minneapolis protests in an effort to apprehend those who turned the demonstrations violent. The Bureau said in a Thursday news release that special agents were reviewing video received from the public frame by frame to reveal clues that may help identify those involved in rioting and violence that occurred the week of May 26. The protests erupted in Minneapolis and across the country after a video surfaced showing a white police officer, Derek Chauvin, pinning George Floyd on the ground. Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, has been accused of using a fake $20 bill. Chauvin can be seen in the footage. Yeah, we know the story. The FBI respects. Oh, let me put a hold on that. We have a ex-Bubba Hotep with the 2222 and my favorite shake weight video. Time for me to go to sleep, but wanted to give you a treat on my way out. Well, that is one hell of a treat. Thank you, ex-Bubba Hotep. I appreciate that. All right. The FBI respects the rights of people to peacefully exercise their First Amendment rights, and the FBI's mission to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution is a dual and simultaneous, not contradictory, the FBI said. Accordingly, the Bureau is committed to apprehending violent instigators who exploit legitimate peaceful protests and engage in violations of federal law. So great. I hope they find as many of the people who broke shit and burned shit. I hope that, you know what? You know who I really hope they find? And if it turns out that the activists are right and is a police officer, so be it. But the dude who was in the wearing all black and had the gas mask respirator thing on that was breaking the windows at that AutoZone, that with the umbrella dude. Everyone know who I'm talking about? Umbrella dude. I hope they find out who that is. And because if it is a cop, fuck him too. Not literally, figuratively. Screw him too. Screw any of these people who started burning shit and got this going. Because basically, they got copycats across the country burning down cities everywhere and just fucking shit up. And you know what? Unnecessary. Like I said, I can't remember when I said it, but early on, people were talking about, or the news, talking about, you're distracting from the protests. You're getting people to forget about what happened. You know who really screwed up the message of the protests? rioters. Rioters screwed up the message of the protest. Rioters are the ones who got us away from the message of the protests. Because now, instead of listening to what you're protesting about, people were worried about their safety. It's your own damn fault. Fuck sticks. Moving on. Now look, there's also news that we forget about when all we're talking about is George Floyd and coronavirus. And here's one. A declassified document. Intel community new Steele dossier was unreliable by 2017. It's in early 2017. The intelligence community and top Obama administration officials knew that Fusion GPS and ex-British spy Christopher Steele's dossier that alleged collusion between the Trump campaign with Russia was largely uncorroborated by early 2017, according to a declassified document released Thursday. Now, by the way, John Ratliff is staying in the footsteps of Richard Grenell, and he's continuing to declassify documents that was hiding some of the what's the word? It's just the shit that the FBI didn't want you to know. So he started declassifying, and everyone's beginning to realize that these fuckers all knew that this was bullshit before we had the Mueller investigation, before they charged General Flynn, before were started shadowing Papadopoulos. They knew that this was all bullshit. This was an operation. And it's becoming obvious by all the documents that are being released. The declassified document was an annex to the Obama administration's Intelligence Community Assessment, ICA, on Russian interference in the election released in early 2017. One page of the annex said of the Steele dossier, quote, an FBI source using both identified and unidentified subsources volunteered highly politically sensitive information from the summer to the fall of 2016 on Russian influence efforts aimed at the U.S. presidential election. We only have limited corroboration of the sources reporting in this case and did not use it to reach the analytic conclusions of the CIA, FBI, NSA assessments. Oh, really? That's a lie. Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe declassified the annex on June 9, 2020 and released it to Senator Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson on Wednesday. Although Steele's reporting had only limited corroboration, and it was not included in the main body of the ICA, large parts of the dossier was included in the annex to the ICA, which was prepared for and briefed to President Obama and President-elect Trump. The annex said, quote, the most politically sensitive claims by the FBI source alleged a close relationship between the president-elect and the Kremlin. Steele claimed that the president-elect and his top campaign advisors knowingly worked with Russian officials to bolster his chances of beating Secretary Clinton, were fully knowledgeable of Russian direction of leaked Democratic emails, and were offered financial compensation from Moscow. Now, these are all Steele's claims. Steele claimed also that the Kremlin had cultivated the president-elect for at least 5 years. Really? How did they get him? How did they get him through the Republican nominee process? Just curious. Oh, the American media did that by giving Trump free publicity all the time. Had fed him and his team intelligence about Secretary Clinton and other opponents for years. And agreed to use WikiLeaks in return for policy concessions by the president-elect, assuming he won the election on NATO and Ukraine. Oh my God. Steele also claimed the Russian authorities possessed compromising materials on the president-elect activities when he's in Russia, as well as a compromising dossier on Secretary Clinton's political activities that was controlled by the Kremlin and not shared with the president-elect or his team. Steele also claimed that secret meetings between the Kremlin and the president-elect's team were handled by some of the president-elect's advisors, at least one of whom was alleged allegedly offered financial remuneration for a policy change lifting sanctions in Russia. Steele's reporting was attached to the ICA largely at the insistence of FBI leadership. Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz found in an investigation. Horowitz found that the former FBI Director Andrew McCabe pushed to include Steele's reporting in the ICA itself, arguing that Obama had requested everything you have relevant to this topic of Russian influence. CIA officials argued that Steele's reporting should only be included in an appendix, not in the main body of the ICA. Then FBI Director Jim Comey would later brief Trump on the ICA and the annex alleging collusion. That briefing to Trump was then leaked to CNN, which led to BuzzFeed publishing the dossier in full in January 2017. Circular reporting. The dossier continued to plague Trump until he was cleared of any criminal conspiracy and coordination or cooperation with Russia by Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation in 2019. Now, despite the intelligence community and top Obama officials knowing that the Fusion GPS Steele dossier only had limited corroboration, it was also used as the basis to obtain 3 additional secret surveillance warrants to spy on former Trump campaign aide Carter Page through 2017. Yeah, the FISA warrants, remember those? Hey, by the way, you notice they've never charged Carter Page with anything. That's interesting. All that, everything got through Carter Page. Oh, but it let him listen to his phone calls. Anyway, anyway, what's happening here is the point is that they knew that there was not only limited corroboration, but they also knew beforehand that the source of Steele's information denied the information that he gave Steele, saying that it was just they were just making up shit in the bar talking shit. Anyway, just the fact that Ratliff is still declassifying things and John Durham is doing his job, we might see a perp walk or two before the end of the year. Anyway, also the Senate panel approves of dozens of subpoenas in the probe of Trump campaign surveillance. The Senate Judiciary Committee voted along party lines Thursday to authorize subpoenas for dozens of current and former government employees as part of the sprawling investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. Lindsey Graham, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee panel, sought subpoenas in order to investigate the FBI's probe of Trump campaign associates, as well as U.S. agencies' handling of the Steele dossier. So they just to give you a synopsis, they released a list of 53 potential witnesses, including James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Loretta Lynch, and many, many, many more. So we might be seeing more people testify before Congress. I don't think Rod Rosenstein impressed them too much when he was there last week. All right, next. Now this is interesting to me because so as I saw this article, apparently, so all these corporations are pledging millions and millions and millions of dollars to social justice causes after the George Floyd incident and protests over the last few weeks. $464 million. Corporate America floods social justice causes with cash amid Floyd protests. Now, something I joked about, that was about 2 weeks ago, is just after this whole, Floyd thing blew up, and after the first protests in Minneapolis, and I'm on Twitter, and I see the Twitter feed of the Reverend Al Sharpton, who stated, here was the line: "I will be flying to Minneapolis tomorrow," because Al Sharpton might be the most prolific grievance grifter of our time. And I thought, oh my gosh, how much money is Al Sharpton going to make off of this? Now, he still hasn't reconciled his little tax issue with the IRS, but that's all there is, that's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, corporations are opening up their treasuries to give money to social justice causes, including Black Lives Matter, in the wake of nationwide protests and riots over the death of George Floyd. Many of the big companies are pushing their employees to do the same. Yeah, it's almost like, oh, if you want to work here, you might want to at least support this, and I'll get to something about that later. So some of the businesses are donating to controversial bail funds, like Minnesota Freedom Fund, that seek to bail out protesters and rioters, which I'm like, come on, that's stupid. Anyway, here's the list so far. Sony, a fund to support social justice and anti-racist initiatives around the world, $100 million. Who's getting those funds, and what are they really going to be used for? Walmart, new racial equity center, $100 million. What is a racial equity center? Warner Music, campaigns against violence and racism and social justice causes related to the music industry. You know what? I got an idea. Remember the guys in the video? What was that video that those white actors did? Something about I will speak out about stereotypes. Are there some stereotypes that are unhealthy in the music industry? Anyone feel me there? Nike is going to contribute to organizations that put social justice, education, and addressing racial inequality in America at the center of their work. $40 million. You know, they might want to just reimburse some of the stores that got looted. You know? Because there's a lot of people running around with some new Nikes on after these protests. Alphabet / Google. They're going to donate to various organizations, starting with $1 million each to Center for Policing Equity and Equal Justice Initiative, $12 million. Amazon, to the American Civil Liberties Union, who no longer champions free speech, the Brennan Center for Justice, Equal Justice Initiative, Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under the Law, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, National Bar Association, National Museum of African American History and Culture, National Urban League, Thurgood Marshall College Fund, United Negro College Fund. 10 million? Amazon? Okay, I know, people are bitching. Oh, they're only giving 10 million? Fuck you. They give billions and billions to everywhere. But at least, you know what? Nothing super controversial in that group of places yet. Facebook, groups working on racial justice, 10 million. General Electric, organizations that promote inclusion and racial justice. An initial 1 million will go to the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, and 10 million to other places. Target, Target, one of the most high-profile places that got looted in Minneapolis, is long-standing partners such as the National Urban League. And by the way, my grandfather, who was an attorney, got his law degree during the Great Depression. Black man in Omaha, Nebraska, got his law degree during the Great Depression. I'm repeating that because he wasn't making excuses when he did that. But anyway, my grandfather was I think he was the first black president of the Urban League in Omaha. Just a little key tidbit there. And their purpose then was it was kind of like just helping black business, they're helping improve neighborhoods and things like that. So I just think that's fascinating. United Health, YMCA Equity Innovation Center of Excellence, and Minneapolis St. Paul businesses. Okay, so they're giving to businesses that, hopefully it's businesses that got destroyed. The one here, though, that I saw, there's a whole bunch. Goldman Sachs, Spotify, Disney, Procter & Gamble, Cisco, Lego. Legos, like as in the Legos. Organizations supporting black children and educating all children about racial equality, 4 million. Where's the one, though? There was one here that I looked at it and I can't find it now. Starbucks, Intel, McDonald's, Uber, Duke Energy, Travelers Company. Basically, you know what's happened here? Here's the thing. These companies are avoiding shakedowns, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of these places, a lot of these places are do good work, but so many of these organizations that are giving millions and millions of dollars, and I'm going to guess this is going to be up over $1 billion over the next month from various companies. Vast majority of these companies are giving to entities that are basically that funnel money to Democrats. Okay, almost every one of these organizations, some of them do good work in communities, some of them do whatever, but all of these organizations are organizations that basically give money to Democrats. And the one that I can't find it now, but the National Action League? What is it? What is Al Sharpton's organization? There was one of these on here that they give to the National Action League or National Action Fund, whatever. It's Al Sharpton's organization. And I just laughed because I remember, that's why I laughed a few weeks ago when I saw Al Sharpton said, I'm flying to Minneapolis, because you know, Al Sharpton got himself in the 2 of 3 of George Floyd's funerals too. And he made a political speech at one of the funerals, boy. He was just talking about how their leadership in the White House has got to go. Yada, there's no leadership, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But anyway, so all these companies are jumping onto the bandwagon because they probably are afraid not to. But and again, some of them are absolutely worthy causes they give to, but some are just, again, funnel money to Democrats. Here's another one. Black Lives Matter is a slogan and an organization, so be careful who you endorse. Now, this is by Stacey Lennox. Earlier this week, I wrote about political polls that I don't believe because of the way they are constructed. Now I've seen one that I don't believe because it would stun me if respondents were clear on what they were actually affirming. Black Lives Matter named after their organization after a sentiment that everyone agrees with, and they are not explicit about their full agenda. Over the last 2 weeks, this is from the New York Times, support for Black Lives Matter increased by nearly as much as it had over the previous 2 years, according to data from CVEGS, an online survey research firm. By a 28-point margin, CVEGS finds that a majority of Americans support the movement, up from a 17-point margin before the most recent waves of protests began. Thank you, Gamer Valine, for the $5 super. Apple has stayed mostly quiet. AMD hasn't given an amount. Intel pledged $1 million to NAACP bail relief fund and will match employee donations on top of that. I watch tech because I work in STEM. Yes, I was aware of that, and that's awesome. And interesting that the some of the tech companies have pledged, some haven't, but yeah, Apple's interesting that they've been quiet. Don't expect that to last, although I know that 2 Apple stores in Minneapolis were destroyed. All right, so Black Lives Matter, uppercase or lowercase. Largely, I believe the statistic has changed because of the recent protests and the reason behind them. The death of George Floyd at the hand of Officer Chauvin, and it was universally condemned. Politicians across the board were calling for justice to be served, and virtually all commentary called for the same. In many areas, it seemed bipartisan agreement could be reached on a range of reforms. Discussion about qualified immunity, police unions, use of force, and other items were all points of discussion. Nobody supports police brutality. There is also universal agreement that Black Lives Matter. That is a statement of fact. However, if you think police brutality is the only issue for Black Lives Matter, the organization, and that is why you support them, that is not accurate. The organization operates on the premise that there is an inordinate amount of police violence against unarmed black men in the United States. There's no data that supports that contention. However, the effectiveness of media and radicals in creating this perception is demonstrated by the following video. So here we go. Here, let's see if this plays right here, hopefully. Yes, it does.
So, of course, police brutality has been a very big subject lately. How many unarmed black men do you think were killed by police over the past year?
Over the past year, I think blacks get killed by the police unarmed way more than white people.
But like, have you seen any numbers or statistics? Like, do you know if it's a couple hundred or a couple thousand by chance?
I don't know the exact statistics offhand.
Thousands. Right now, I believe I saw a post that said that right now 493 have been killed just this year.
Oh my God.
I can't put a number on that because I genuinely do not know.
I honestly don't know the answer, the number of black men who were killed. Like she said, we, the public, are probably not informed to most of it.
Thousands.
More members of the black community compared to members of the white community as a whole are killed in general. I think that might not be true, but you know.
Where and how big of a region?
That's in all of America, yeah, in America.
That would be so hard for me to say. It would be hard for me to even guess at. I would imagine, probably in the dozens of thousands at least.
Thousands, probably even just in a week. If you're talking about all of America, yeah, monthly, probably thousands.
Oh my God.
I wish I knew that number, but way too many than it should. So.
Do you think it's like a couple hundred, couple thousand? Like, do you think you can give like a ballpark at all based off of like media reports, videos you've seen?
I would say in the hundreds, near thousands. I'm not sure. Do you know?
So I was actually reading a statistic in the Wall Street Journal because I was asking people this question and I really wasn't sure either. And the Wall Street Journal said that last year, 9 unarmed black men were killed by police.
I think that's tough to hear, and when people see that, it just perpetuates their own bias towards the community. Like I said, privilege goes into those statistics that people are reporting, and when you don't account for that, then you can come up with an opinion that, in my opinion, is not the right one. So,
what does that even mean? Anyway, so yeah, that is again the perception that thousands so far this year. By contrast, 19 unarmed white men were killed. It is also important to note that the unarmed does not mean not dangerous. In many of these cases, the officers still had a reason to fear for their lives. There are roughly 1,000 police shootings nationwide, with all but 41 being armed assailants. At that point, race is not the issue. By way of scale, this is out of 354 million police contacts nationwide. The only issue Black Lives Matter, the organization, currently has a petition for is defunding police departments nationwide. Since 65% of Americans disagree with that idea, it's very hard to say there is really a majority support for the movement. If you want to know what the defund the police actually means, you can read about it in the current insanity in Seattle. They're both Antifa and Black Lives Matters, the organization, members involved. For those not familiar with the organization's history, it is 6 years old. They came to national attention in 2014 during the Obama administration. During the Ferguson riots. Let me pause for this super chat. Thank you, Ductator, for the 223. Guess who has 2 thumbs and is still having a shitty week? Oh man, Duck Dog, I'm sorry that you were having a shitty week. I know that you had a rough day yesterday, and I hope things get better for you, man. I know you know. I know you're not wanting to give the details. That's fine. I don't need to know the details, but I hope you have a better week, man. Sorry about that. All right. Despite these findings, here we go. The destruction. They came to national attention in 2014 during the Ferguson riots. The destruction was immense. Officer Darren Wilson was acquitted of the fatal shooting of Michael Brown based on forensic evidence indicating that Brown was trying to take the officer's gun. Even Eric Holder's Department of Justice ultimately agreed with the conclusions. Despite these findings, rioters marched through the city streets chanting, "What do we need? Dead cops. When do we need them? Now." Another favorite was "Pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon." Sadly, they got their wish. There were several high-profile murders of police officers reportedly inspired by or by members of the Black Lives Matter. By the end of 2016, there were record numbers of officers being killed in planned ambushes. Riots also ensued in the spring of 2015 after the hospitalization and death of Freddie Gray due to injuries sustained in the custody of Baltimore police. Again, the damage to businesses and property was significant. They ended when Governor Larry Hogan called in the National Guard during the he called in the National Guard? Oh my God! During the Obama administration. Whoops. The Obama administration. The National Guard. I thought that was. Oh, never mind. It wasn't during Trump's time. Anyway, the riots that occurred over the last several weeks are no different than the ones that we were seeing from 2014 to 2016 when Trump was still having kids in cages, right? Wait a minute. 2014 to 2016. Oh, that was during the Obama administration. I'm sorry. That was just a slip. There are certain other groups involved now. Attorney General William Barr has called the group starting the violence a witch's brew of radical organizations. Black Lives Matter, the organization, is certainly among them. What has changed is Black Lives Matter, the organization, does not promote leaders the way they once did. DeRay McKesson, Sean King, and Erica Garner were all promoted by the media as leaders of the organization a few years ago. That's no longer the case. They named co-founders that don't include any of the prominent members from several years ago. They are also not as nearly as ubiquitous in the media as the prior leaders were. BLM has adopted a distributed group model similar to Antifa. Leaderless movements with coordinated action started back in the 1970s with animal rights radicals and eco-terrorists. It makes the groups harder to track. So agenda-wise, while the language is softened a bit, Black Lives Matter's agenda is still explicitly Marxist. They actually call affiliated groups comrades. Nothing in what they believe mentions America, rather a global network of black people. Their beliefs are also explicitly separatist, with the goal of communist structures created by and for blacks. This includes the disruption of the, quote, Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages. I don't know. They did a weird quote thing there. That collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. Yeah, the Western prescribed nuclear family breakdown has been devastating to the black community. But hey, you be you. It is also militant in its support of the gay and trans black community from its list of beliefs. 1, we are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folks, especially black trans women, who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. Just an FYI, the prolific, I'll put that in quotation marks, amount of trans violence against trans black women comes at the hand of black men. Not anything that has to do that normally you would think Black Lives Matter cares about. Also, we foster a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking, or rather the belief that all in the world are heterosexual unless she or he or they disclose otherwise. So, yeah, that's part of it, is because the 3 main founders of Black Lives Matter were LGBTQ activists before this. I'm just gonna put this one in the chat because I don't want to get bogged down in the entire article, but you get the idea. They have many other agendas. The organization Black Lives Matter versus the hashtag Black Lives Matter, which is an idea. The organization is, I don't know. Anyway. All right. Let's see. I only got a few more minutes here. Do I do this? I'm gonna skip Twitter trends today. Just to finish this. This is the consequences of not, or even seemingly not supporting Black Lives Matter, and then we're gonna call it a day. If you don't support Black Lives Matter, you're fired. I can't even say I don't do a Trump voice. I really struggle. I could do an Obama voice because he talks kind of like this, and 57 states. Bernie Sanders I can kind of do. I don't know. Anyway, Black Lives Matter isn't interested in fighting actual racism, but it is interested in whether you support its agenda and getting fired if you don't. There will be no opting out of the Black Lives Matter movement if you're either for BLM or against it, and if you're against it, you're a racist. You will either support BLM publicly and enthusiastically, or you will be harassed, shunned, and shamed out of mainstream America. If you dare speak a word against BLM, you will be targeted, mobbed, and probably fired. That's the message coming through loud and clear, not just from protesters, but from corporations and institutions desperate to see woke enough to escape the wrath of the BLM movement. See, the corporations, they're the ones looking at their pocketbooks, and that's why they're giving money. Oh man, it is the greatest grift ever. Thank you, Gamer Valine, for the 350 show. It's my 350th show. Quote, Gamer Valine says, wait, it needs to correctly say the governor sent National Guard to Baltimore only after the mayor couldn't get control. He told her to request assistance or we will take control at the state level. That mayor is in prison now for tax evasion and fraud. That is true. That article did leave that part out. Was the governor of the state being a dictator? I don't recall them recall anyone saying that governor was being a dictator or that President Obama was a dictator, or but of course then Trump does something like that. Oh, we all forgot about that back then. Way to go. Anyway, thank you, Gamer Valina, again. I appreciate you very much. It doesn't matter what your job or profession might be. It doesn't matter if you're in a position of power or prestige. In fact, being in a position of power might make you more of a target. The only thing that can protect you from the BLM movement's punitive rage is fealty. Or if you wash feet, bend the knee, and you might be spared. Then again, you might not. The list of people who've lost their jobs or have been suspended for criticizing or even questioning the BLM movement is long and growing daily. Most prominent on the list is erstwhile New York Times opinion page editor James Bennett, who resigned under pressure from woke New York Times staffers after he ran an op-ed by Republican Senator Tom Cotton that made the uncontroversial case that the U.S. military should be deployed if police cannot get riots under control. Then there was Stan Wisnowski, top editor for the Philadelphia Inquirer, forced to resign over a headline of an architecture column that read, quote, "Buildings matter too," which ran after scores of buildings in downtown Philly had been destroyed by rioters. Ooh, don't co-opt their theme. Bon Appetit editor-in-chief Adam Rappaport stepped down Monday after a piece he published genuflecting to BLM was deemed insufficient by staffers who claim there's a discriminatory culture at the magazine. At Bon Appetit, Bon Appetit, the culinary magazine, is I'm sorry, but you have a discriminatory culture at your magazine. It's Bon Appetit. We do not have enough soul food at Bon Appetit. Yes, you need to know how to make collard greens and hush puppies if you're going to the gourmet Bon Appetit hush puppies and collard greens. Oh my God. Which, someone posted a 13-year-old photo. Oh, here's what happened. Here's the truth now. Someone posted a 13-year-old photo of Rappaport in a Halloween costume that some people thought was offensive. Claudia Eiler, editor-in-chief of Variety, was forced to take administrative leave after she got into a Twitter spat with a woman of South Asian descent who thought a piece Eiler wrote lamenting the lack of diversity in the magazine was not obsequious enough. On and on it goes. NBA announcer Grant Napier was fired from his sports talk radio program and resigned as the Sacramento Kings announcer after tweeting, quote, the sacrilege known as, quote, all lives matter. A professor at UCLA was placed on leave after refusing to cancel a final exam following the death of George Floyd. A reporter in Wales was forced to step down as Wales Book of the Year judge after complaining that a BLM protest violated the government's social distancing rules. Oh, God. Remember, COVID's not all that important. A cast member for an MTV reality competition series, The Challenge, was fired after writing, "People die every fucking day," in response to an Instagram comment about George Floyd. Professional soccer player, this is the one that kills me. Professional soccer player Alexander Katai was released by the LA Galaxy, not for anything he wrote or said, but because his wife criticized BLM on Instagram. A former Canadian cabinet minister lost 3 jobs after saying on television that he didn't think Canada was a racist country. Oh my God, the sacrilege. Oh, racist. This is just a partial list. BLM isn't interested in free speech. It wants power. Black Lives Matter is a political movement as distinct from, say, thinking that black lives actually matter. Which is most Americans do, but because they are... Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I got choked up there. Black Lives Matter is a political movement, as distinct from, say, thinking that Black Lives Matter, which most Americans do believe because they're not racist. But it isn't interested at all ameliorating the state of Black America or fighting actual racism or expanding liberty and justice for all under our constitutional system. This isn't an evolutionary movement, but a revolutionary movement. It doesn't draw on our tradition of constitutionalism, but on Marxism. Its model isn't the American Revolution, but the French Revolution. Hence, the purges, which for now are confined to the workplace. There's going to be a backlash to this at some point, though, and I'm not looking forward to it. It's fair to say the movement's power and influence are based on ideological purges. Exposing supposed racists is its modus operandi, and what began on campus has now percolated into the mainstream of American life. Yes, it's kind of like 2016 over again on steroids. So here's this one right here. I saw this tweet the other day, and now they're featuring it here. Someone who changed their name to Black Lives Matter says, when you expose a racist student, you stop them from attending a university that will allow them to become a racist healthcare worker, teacher, lawyer, real estate developer, politician, etc. Do you see how insidious that is? Look, let's say, where's a racist? Now, all you're gonna, where's an actual racist person who gets into university? What do you do at a university? What's one of the things that the purpose of the university is? To learn, right? But nope. We can't allow these people to learn or interact with people who aren't like them. No, we have to shun them so that they become isolated and bitter, and maybe collect some more guns and then go out and do some shit that you really don't want to do. I'd rather have them be learning at the university. I'm just saying. Not necessarily being indoctrinated, but just at least interact with different people, whatever. Apologies and counter arguments won't help, because the one thing the BLM movement cannot allow is honest discourse or the free exchange of ideas. Consider the case of Harold Uhlig, an economics professor at the University of Chicago and lead editor of the Journal of Political Economy, one of the country's top economic journals. A campaign is currently underway to get Uhlig fired for, quote, trivializing the BLM movement, end quote, and then insufficiently apologizing for this supposed offense in a Twitter thread. How did he trivialize BLM? He wrote a blog post in 2017 defending the principle of free speech using the example of sympathetic media coverage of NFL players kneeling during the national anthem. Essentially, he posed a diagnostic question about the motivation of journalists. He did this in a somewhat clumsy but provocative way, asking whether these journalists would still defend the players if instead of kneeling during the national anthem, they waved a Confederate flag and donned Ku Klux Klan gear. It was a hypothetical, right? Uhlig's point was that you're only really defending the principle of free speech if you're defending views you find despicable, like support for the Confederacy or the KKK. Since most journalists already agreed with the kneeling NFL players protesting police abuse, this isn't really an act of bravery, he wrote. This is all about defending the right to speak for those that you agree with in the first place, dressed up as a proud defense of the Constitution. This is an act of a majority gaging up on one who is down. What a phony act of cowardice and pretense. Strong words, but certainly not trivializing the BLM movement or anyone who is protesting police abuse. In fact, Uhlig's blog post had nothing to do with the protest or BLM as such. It's a post about media coverage and the First Amendment. That much is obvious to anyone who reads what he wrote. But no matter, the mob has come for the professor. An online petition started by woke economists who think Uhlig's comments, quote, called into question his impartiality in assessing academic work on this and related topics, end quote, demands his resignation as lead editor of the Journal of Political Economy. We do not question the right of Professor Uhlig to make such comments, the petition states, but we are strongly opposed to him holding a position of power as the editor of a prominent journal in our discipline. So, they don't think that he should be able to speak. They think he should be able to speak his mind, but just not working for us. Oh, yeah. That is, you are free to make such comments, though, as long as you relinquish your job and position of power whenever the mob demands it. This isn't some fringe incident in academia, by the way. This is an effort to oust the editor of a top academic journal for defending the principle of free speech. Yet among the mob, calling for Uhlig's head are powerful people like Paul Krugman, who's always wrong, by the way, that's my aside, of the New York Times, who has been lobbying these baseless smears at Uhlig for days now on Twitter, misrepresenting what he said and cheering on the people trying to get him fired. A lesson in all this is that the BLM movement is above all interested in power. It seeks to seize out power in part by monopolizing the definition of racism and wielding accusations of racism against anyone who doesn't fall in line with its radical policy agenda. That means you're a racist if you do not support BLM, the organization. And even if you do, you might be deemed racist anyway. And in that case, you're fired. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to say goodbye because I'm past my time like I am every day. But thank you so much for being here today on the Morning Night Live. Try to keep your head above water and don't fuck with the BLM people too much. Hey, I'm glad you all came by today. I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT. And if you would be so kind, before you go, on the way out, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, or duck dog. you know what you can do. And share the stream out. If you're watching after the fact, leave a comment in the comment section so I know you were here. And if you want to make donations or do super chats on this show, you can always do so any time of the day through the Streamlabs link in the description down below or in the chat. If you do it while you're watching the replay, I will read your super chats first thing next show. So thank you so much, especially Gabriel Valine, Duck Dog, X-Bubba Hotep, who threw out the super chats today. Also, everyone who participated in the chat. You make the show what it is too. Makes it fun for everybody. So I hope you all have a great weekend. Who knows if I'll do a bonus stream this weekend. I'm working on a couple videos. Hopefully I'll have those out before Sunday. That's it for today, people. I gotta go. My name is PAWG Night, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PAWG Night, and thank you for watching today on the PAWG Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PAWG Night, and I'm out of here.